morning and welcome to Tuesdays with the Pilgrim. Today we continue our journey with Chapter 11. Chapter 11, Part 1. In the plain called Ease. Christian and Hopeful continued on their way until they came to a lovely plain called Ease. They were very happy to travel there, but the plain was small and they passed through it quickly. At the far side of the plain there was a little hill called Lucre, and in that hill was a silver mine. Some of those who had gone that way previously had been attracted by the mine's uniqueness and had turned aside for a better look. Having gone too near the edge of the pit, however, the ground underneath them was deceptively untrustworthy, and it had given way. Some had fallen to their deaths, while others had been maimed for life. 11, Part 2. The Appeal of Demas. Then I saw in my dream that a little way off the road, close to the silver mine, a distinguished-looking man named Demas stood ready to call travelers to come and take a look. He called to Christian and Hopeful, "Hello there, turn aside over here, I have something to show you." "What is so important that it warrants our going off the way to see it?" Christian replied. "This is a silver mine, and some are digging in it for treasure. If you come, with a little effort, you can provide richly for yourselves." "Let's go see," said Hopeful. "Not I," said Christian. "I have heard of this place before, and of the many who have died there. Besides, that treasure is a snare to those who seek it, for it hinders them in their pilgrimage." Then Christian called to Demas, "Isn't this place dangerous? Hasn't it hindered many in their pilgrimage?" "Oh, not really," Demas replied. "It's only dangerous to those who are careless." But he blushed as he spoke. Then Christian said to Hopeful, "Let's keep on our way and not take even one step towards him." "I agree with you, brother, but I'll just bet you that when By-ends comes here and receives the same invitation, he will go over there and look." "No doubt," said Christian, "for his principles lead him that way. 100 to 1 that he dies there." Then Demas called to them again, saying, "But won't you come over and take a look?" So Christian bluntly answered him, "Demas, you are an enemy of the righteous, of the Lord of this way, and one of his Majesty's judges has already condemned you for your own turning aside. Why are you seeking to bring us under similar condemnation? Besides, if we turn aside at all, our lord the king will certainly hear about it. We would then stand before him ashamed, whereas we could have stood before him with full confidence." Demas cried again, pleading with them to understand that he was also one of their brotherhood, and that if they would but stay a little while, he would walk with them. "What is your name?" asked Christian. "Isn't it the same as I called you?" "Yes, my name is Demas. I am the son of Abraham." "Well, I know you, Gehazi. Elisha's servant was your great-grandfather, and Judas was your father. You are walking in their footsteps. Your father hung as a traitor, and you deserve no better. Be assured that when we come to the king, we will inform him of your behavior." After this, they went on their way. By this time, By-ends and his companions were again in sight. At Demas's first call, they went over. Now I'm not certain whether they fell over the edge of the pit, or whether they went down inside to dig, or whether they were asphyxiated by the gases that commonly arise from the bottom. One thing I observed, though, was that they were never again seen in the way. Then Christian sang a song. "By-ends and silver-hearted Demas both agree. One calls and the other runs, that he may also be a sharer in his lucre, so he will also leave the way for the world, and no further go." Chapter 11, Part 3. The Pillar of Lot's Wife. Now I saw that on the other side of this plain, just beyond the silver mine, the pilgrims came to a place where an old monument stood along the roadside. Upon seeing it, they were both intrigued by its appearance, for it seemed as though it had been a woman who had now transformed into the shape of a pillar. They stood there gazing at it, not knowing what to make of it. Eventually Hopeful noticed some unusual writing above its head. but he couldn't make it out. After careful scrutiny, Christian was able to decipher these words: "Remember Lot's wife." They both concluded that this must have been the pillar of salt that Lot's wife had been turned into when, fleeing for safety, she had looked back upon Sodom with a covetous heart. It was an incredible sight. "Oh, my brother," said Christian, "this is certainly a timely sight. Its appearance so suits the invitation Demas gave us to come over and view Lucre Hill. If we had gone over as he wanted us to, and as you, my brother, were inclined, we may well have turned out like this woman, a spectacle to all who come after." "I'm sorry I was so foolish," said Hopeful, "and it's a miracle that I'm not like Lot's wife now. For what is the difference between her sin and mine? She only looked back, but I had a desire to go and look. Let grace be cherished, and let me be ashamed that such a thing was ever in my heart. This lesson may be of future usefulness, Hopeful. Let's take note and not forget what we see here. This woman escaped one judgment, the judgment that fell on Sodom, yet she was destroyed by another. May we always remember this pillar of salt." "Yes," Hopeful answered. "She should be both a caution and an example to us. A caution because we should shun her sin, and an example of the judgment that will overtake those who disregard the caution. Likewise, Korah, Dathan, and Abram, along with 250 others, perished in their sin and became an example telling all to beware. But one thing I marvel at, above all others, is how Demas and his friends can so confidently look for that treasure when this woman, only looking behind her, we don't read that she stepped 1 foot out of the way, was turned to a pillar of salt. The judgment that overtook her is an example within plain sight of them all, and they can't help but see her if they look up." Christian added, "It is a mystery, and it goes to show that their hearts are in a desperate condition. I don't know whom best to compare them with. One who picks pockets in the judge's presence, or one who greedily grasps for more gain while on his way to being executed. It is said that those in Sodom were terrible sinners because they were sinners before the face of the Lord, that is, within his eyesight, and this in spite of all the kindness he had shown them, for the land of Sodom at the time was like the Garden of Eden. This provoked the Lord even more to jealousy and caused their plague of fire from heaven to be as hot as the Lord could make it. It must be concluded that those who sin in the sight of God, despite many examples to warn them to the contrary, will come under severest judgment." "You have doubtless spoken the truth," said Hopeful. "But what mercy God has shown us, that neither you nor especially I made such an example of ourselves. Let us thank God right now and fear him, and let us always remember Lot's wife." And that ends our readings for today. Next Tuesday we will pick up with chapter 11, part 4, The River of God. Until then, take care, stay safe, and God bless.